didn't go on to billion-dollar valuations. As I was collecting this data, I continued to hear stereotypes perpetuated by other investors and founders about what success looks like. That most billion-dollar companies are started by Ivy League dropouts. That they must have gone through well-known accelerator programs. That the founders must have solved a personal problem, or that their ideas had to be first to market and lack competition. While a handful of billion-dollar startups match these archetypes, most of them don't. My data set showed that the founders of billion-dollar companies were more likely to have PhDs than be dropouts. Many of them had entirely non-technical co-founders. Fewer than 15% went through any accelerator program, many weren't solving a personal problem, and very few were first to market. I wondered how many companies fail to get funding because they don't match any known patterns. And how many would-be successful founders never start a business in the first place for the same reason. These questions led me to expand outside my data set, gather first-hand stories from founders of these billion-dollar companies, and not just the well-known ones, and write this book. There were over 200 billion-dollar companies founded in the time period of my study, between 2005 and 2018, many of which you may not have heard of. Besides the Ubers, Airbnbs, and Zooms featured in this book, there are billion-dollar startup companies like Nevro, maker of a medical device that uses electrical stimulation of the nerves to reduce chronic pain as an alternative to drugs, or Tanium, which develops endpoint security management software. There are also many examples of billion-dollar startups outside the typical tech hubs, like Peak, an Istanbul-based developer of popular mobile games. The data informs my argument, and my interviews with founders and investors, which appear at the end of all but a couple of chapters, color in the details. In the chapter on work experience, you'll hear about how two founders were able to disrupt the cancer treatment technology market without any industry experience. In the chapter on pivots, you'll hear about how YouTube was formed from a pivot. In the chapter on bootstrapping, you'll hear about GitHub's early-stage financing for over 4 years before being acquired for $7.5 billion. And in the chapter on fundraising, you'll hear about how companies like Peloton and Airbnb struggled with raising funds in the early days. You'll see that some of my research shows that certain factors don't matter at all, so let yourself off the hook and stop worrying. And you'll also see some factors that made a founder or idea more likely to succeed and just might inspire you to change your thinking. I'll answer questions like, how many startups had multiple competitors at the time of founding? How many years of overall work experience did the founders have before starting their company? Was it in the same industry? Had most founders started another company before? If so, was their previous attempt successful? How long did it take from when they started to when they got their first investment? Was it from a brand name investor or not? In addition to the data, the interviews are a chance to hear the more nuanced stories directly from a few of these founders. In some cases, they are a representative sample of the data, and in other cases, they are outliers. The outliers are important too. They demonstrate that sometimes you can succeed even in the face of data that shows otherwise. We will hear from Max Levchin, co-founder of PayPal and Affirm, on market creation versus expansion. From Tony Fadell, founder of Nest and the inventor of the iPod, on product differentiation. From Michelle Zatlin, co-founder of Cloudflare, on starting a company during the recession. And from Eric Yuan, founder of Zoom, on competition. We will talk with Peter Thiel, an investor in companies like Facebook, SpaceX, and Spotify, Alfred Lin of Sequoia Capital, an investor in companies like Airbnb and DoorDash, and Keith Raboy of Founders Fund, an investor in companies like YouTube and LinkedIn, about what they look for when listening to a pitch and how startups should best prepare for fundraising. I sat down with each of these experts and asked them questions about their background.